Hello! Welcome back to another puzzle video. This time we are on the autumn map, and we are piloting the Marquise de Cat. This is a final turn puzzle, meaning we are looking for a victory today. So let's start by taking a look at the Marquise de Cat's position. They are at 21 points, and they are working from a nice central keep here, with a guarded sawmill and one wood token. The majority of the cat's forces are in the bottom right-hand corner guarding this sawmill. As you can see, they've gone pretty hard on the workshops. They got 2 fox workshops and a rabbit workshop. Let's take a look at the cat's hand. They have coffin makers, travel gear, a sword, and false orders. Alright, looking pretty good. We'll tuck that hand away in the lower left-hand corner there. Notice that they've also got 2 crafted improvements. That's swap meat and Eyrie Emigre. Very important. And they have 8 warriors left in the supply. For you eagle-eyed viewers out there, you may be wondering, where are the final 2 warriors? Great question. They are with the Riverfolk Company as part of their funds. All right, let's take a look at the Riverfolk. They're at 17, they're in last place. The bulk of their forces are in the lower left-hand corner guarding this rabbit trade post. Notice that all their services are going to cost 4, because this is the endgame. Now let's take a closer look at their hand. We've got Rabbit Partisans, a Root Tea, Saboteurs, False Orders, and Marine Broker. Alright, I'll tuck that away in the top left-hand corner there for handy reference. And now let's take a look at the Keepers in Iron. Having a good game so far, the Keepers in Iron are winning, currently in points. They're at 22. And they've done a nice job of setting up some bonus scoring with their relics. For the Keepers, every time you recover a relic that completes a column, that is 1 of each type, you get a bonus 2 victory points. So the next 2 figures that they recover are going to get them 2 extra bonus points each, which is really handy. They could easily burst for the win, especially given that they have a nice full retinue. Although the Battle Delve is not looking too promising for this lower right-hand corner. But let's take a closer look at that retinue. We got 10 cards in there, looking very healthy. They have 5 cards in hand, because all the way stations are out on the map. And if you look at these way stations, they are doing a nice job of preventing the cats from doing any expanding up through the north here. Speaking of preventing the cats from expanding, let's take a look at the Corvids. Corvids are at 19, but don't let that fool you. They have 6 plots out on the map. 2 of them are face down. For those of you at home who are able to count, that means that they're going to win on their turn if they can flip both of these face-down plots. Now, if you mostly play Root on the digital platform, you may be looking at this position and saying, hang on a second, they have 3 snares out on the board. That doesn't seem right. Well, on Root Digital, the Corvids only have 2 of each type of plot token. In over-the-board games these days, there's a very common kind of house rule buff for the Corvids that gives them 1 extra plot of each type. Now, this isn't like a super crazy buff or anything. All this does is make it a little bit trickier for opponents to guess, by process of deduction, which plot is face down. In this case, the Corvids only have 3 of each type, but they've really gone hard on the snares, and they have all 3 snares out on the map. Now, snares, you'll recall, prevent pieces from being placed in the clearings they share. They also prevent warriors from moving out of those clearings, enemy warriors. So, they're doing a nice job of preventing the cats from expanding to the north and in the center of the board as well, right? Building means placing a building token. You can't do that with a snare. Alright, the Corvids have crafted informants, right? That's their crafted improvement. And so, instead of drawing 1 card on their last turn, they instead grabbed an ambush from the discard pile. So let's take a look at the discard pile. Here it is. It's pretty full, because there's only 3 cards left in the deck. As the cats, don't forget, you have these crafted improvements, which I'll remind you about those right now. We've got Swap Meet. Once in Birdsong, may take a random card from another player, then give them a card. And Eyrie Emigre at the end of Birdsong, so the last thing that will happen in Birdsong. Take a move, then initiate a battle in the clearing you moved into. If you did not take both actions, discard this card. So it is Birdsong. The first thing that's going to happen in Birdsong is the Riverfolk are going to ask, hey, would you like to buy anything? You can hire a service, or you could purchase cards. The cats do share a clearing with a trade post, meaning you can purchase up to 2 services from the Riverfolk. And this is the first critical decision point. In fact, the decision you make right now is going to determine whether or not you win the game on this turn. So I'll give you a few moments to pause the video and work out how this turn is going to go. What is your first move going to be? All right, for those of you at home who decided to purchase 2 cards from the Riverfolk, congratulations, that's the correct move. But did you purchase the right 2? So we are obviously going to buy the bird card, Saboteurs. Bird cards allow the Marquise de Cat to take extra actions during their daylight step. So that's going to be good for us. We need to get that bird card. And False Orders. False Orders, obviously a very strong card. But there's something very important about this card, and it's the suit. This card is a fox-suited card, and that is the critical detail that you need to keep track of. So if you purchase those 2 cards, congratulations, you are on the right track. But let's see what we're going to do with those cards. Now, the reason we need a fox card is because there's this kind of decision to be made. We know there are 3 snares on the map, so these face-down plots could be one of 3 different plots. But we need to decide which plot we are going to use exposure on. Is it going to be the rabbit clearing or the fox clearing? Well, based on our process of elimination, we can actually figure out which one we should go for. And it all comes down to the ambush in the Corvid's hand. By process of elimination, we can figure out which ambush they have in hand. In the retinue, we have the mouse ambush, and in the discard pile, we had both bird ambushes and the rabbit ambush, meaning that the only card that could be in the Corvid's hand is the fox ambush. And with that piece of knowledge, we can actually use swap meet to get that in our hand. So let's do that now. Let's swap meet away Coffin Makers and grab that ambush. Now take a look, we have 3 fox cards in hand. That number 3, very important. That means we have a 100% guarantee that we can guess which plot this is, even if it goes the worst that it could possibly go. We get 2 incorrect guesses. We can actually narrow it all the way down to a correct guess. So let's do that now. We'll guess incorrectly twice, and then we'll get the correct guess. That gives us a point, and we get to hang on to that last fox card. Very important. So there we go. We're at 22 points. That was probably the hardest earned token point in the history of Root. But every single point matters in the end game. So we are in Birdsong. We're finally going to get to the step where the sawmills generate wood. Here we go. We're working with 3 wood tokens in total. And now it's time for the final step. That is Eyrie Emigre. So if you got this far correctly, congratulations. You already know exactly what you're going to do. But if that last step threw you for a loop, I'm going to give you another chance to pause the video and figure out how you're going to arrange that last turn. All right, and before we dive into the solution here, I want to take a quick moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Good Times Society. They are sponsoring this video in anticipation of RootCon 2023. It's happening in Portland, Oregon on August 19th and 20th, and we are super excited. The Woodland War Machine podcast, a podcast all about Root, if you haven't heard of it, go check it out on all streaming platforms. Woodland War Machine is going to be recording a live streamed episode. Cole Worley's going to be there. There's a Root tournament with the best and the brightest from all across the country and around the world. If you're in Portland, Oregon, or attending RootCon, let me know down in the comments. So let's get into this last solution here. For Eyrie Emigre, obviously, we're going to send 3 cats from that fox clearing into this mouse clearing to battle away this undefended trade post. Now, it's important that we battle the trade post and not the raid. The raid is also undefended, but if we battle the raid, we do get a point. Very helpful. But it causes Corvid warriors to spawn in adjacent clearings, meaning we would lose rule over this fox clearing. We would gain rule in the mouse, but we'd lose control over the fox, which means we can't build on this empty building slot. Right? So very important to hit the trade post. That gives us a point. We're at 23. first things first, we're going to craft. Right? We're going to craft a travel gear and a sword for a total of 3 points. And then we're going to spend that saboteurs for an extra action. Always nice to do that in advance. So here we go. Let's go ahead and build a sawmill for 2 points. Leaves us with 1 wood token, but remember we have that extra fox card in hand from the correct guess. So let's spend that and overwork this fox sawmill. Now, before we can build again, we need to march 1 single cat warrior into this fox clearing, giving us rule, a chain of rule leading from this fox sawmill all the way over to Cancun. And let's build a recruiter, get 2 points, and win the game. So if you found that solution, congratulations. You truly have a root galaxy brain, and I appreciate that. This was a pretty tough one. Hopefully there's going to be several more coming out in anticipation of RootCon. So glad to be back and making videos for all of you. And until next time, I'll see you all around the woodland.